Hello and welcome to Timbograph, where I teach you the tips, tricks, and techniques that I've learned over the years, as well as the new ones I am currently learning as an artist. I am Timothy Santana, with no hair. So before we continue, if you haven't seen the video, you can click here, or you can go in the description below. I suggest that you do that before continuing this video, even if you want to open up in a new tab. I advise that you do so. So what I found out with the iPhone 7 was that the longer I was with it, the more I started to notice its weaknesses and its strengths. So the biggest issue I had shooting with it was probably the contrast. And the contrast is very stark, and the highlights would be too bright and overexposed, whereas the shadows would be too dark and would have no information left. Now the 4K was amazing. It came out really good. It looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. The slow motion, the 120 frames per second is great. Again, the only problem is the amount of information in the color detail and being able to deal with that in post. You're kind of limited in that. But again, it's not so much about the tool, but the creative. And I want to emphasize on that like I did before. Because the camera does not take great pictures. The photographer does. The camera does not make great films. The filmmaker does. You're the creative. You're the one with the tool. All the iPhone is a tool. All the Blackmagic is a tool. All the Canon 5D or the Sony A6300 is a tool. So let's not get caught up in which one's best and comparing one to another. They're each different and they each have their great specs, their pros and their cons, their strengths and their weaknesses. And I found that out for the iPhone 7. And the more I was messing with it, the more I was shooting with it, the more I started to learn about it. And then I figured out how to be creative with it. And that's the thing, is that you want to get used to it. You see, the only way you're going to get good with the gear that you have is by continuously using it. Then you're going to figure out, okay, I know I can do this with it, but I can't do that with it. And then you know how to be creative with it. And then you know how to tell the story that you want to tell. Right? So don't let your tools or your gear, don't let it limit you because you have this or you don't have that. Just get out and do it. Just get out and do it. And I just proved it with the iPhone 7. I just created, I think, is a pretty freaking cool video. Promo video or whatever you want to call it. But it looks pretty freaking awesome. And that's just with the iPhone 7. And I mean, shooting 4K and the 120 frames per second. Did it have challenges? Yeah. Was there more bad footage than there was good footage that made it actually into the video itself? Heck yeah, there's a ton of bad footage. The times where my phone was falling out, there were times where there's cuts in there. Some of that same footage I had to cut during certain times because then the exposure would change, or the sun, started to peak over one of the trees or something like that, and now all of a sudden the exposure changes, and it's a headache to deal with. But like, everything has its, again, pros and cons. But I started to figure out what I could do with it, and I sort of knew how to tell the story I was trying to tell, how to convey whatever it was I was trying to convey, or create whatever I was trying to create, because I understood the tool I was using, because I started to understand it the more I got to use it. It was the same thing with the black and white shots I did with my wife paddling on the canoe. I didn't like the way that it was rendering her skin tone because the sun was on her pretty harshly. It wasn't flattering at all. But then I took it in and I did it in black and white and it seemed to work. And I was like, okay, so I'll just input in for there, But I loved like the detail that it was getting and the water droplets coming off. So I didn't want to discard that, but I wanted to make it work. So again, it's about the creative process. It's about being creative. It's about using this, okay? You are the creative, not the camera, not the tool, not the gear, okay? You are. So get out and create whatever you've got. Just do the best that you can. Make the best that you can. You can do great things with less than you think. That was one of the reasons why I went out. No gear whatsoever. I had a water bottle, I had a knife, and I had the iPhone, and that was it. And I made it work. I had nobody else with me. It was just me by myself. And I made it work. Why? Because I just wanted to prove that no matter what you have, whether it's your phone, whether it's an actual camera, whether it's a DSLR, whether it's a cinema camera, whether it's an Alexa, whatever it might be, you can create. You're the creator, not the tool, not the gear. You are the creator, the creative. Create. Do something. So, that's my little motivational speech for you. Get out and create. I'm gonna start seeing some stuff. But let's dive into this here tutorial review thing, whatever this is. Whatever this is.
It's very windy out, so don't mind the bad audio. I'm just here at one of our parks, doing, of course, a stripped down version to see what it would be like to create a good quality video with the iPhone 7. So we are going to attempt that. I have absolutely nothing. I am walking around with a water bottle and the iPhone. Let's see what we can get.
So I think the hardest part about shooting this video was getting the slow motion shots of me running through the woods like a crazy person, and thank God I had my knife because I had absolutely no equipment with me, and I was able to create some notches to set the iPhone, various pieces of wood or log or whatever, just to get the shot. And some of them were just perfect, and I would use rocks. I used the water bottle and just prop the phone up against the water bottle. And that's how that was done. And it was just a lot of trial and error.
A test shoot in an uncontrollable environment. That's pretty much what this is.
So here we have our footage, which is completely blank. This is what it looks like right out of the camera. Now I applied a crop to sort of give it that widescreen effect. And I also applied a LUT to my footage. Now you don't necessarily need to, but I have a collection from Vision Color, the Impulse Ultimate collection, and I just put a generic sort of Rex 709 LUT onto it. And I chose one that wasn't so crazy, because I really didn't want to, you know, alter the look of the footage too much. I do like that faded film look, but again, I didn't want to alter the footage too much to where, you know, it was all of a sudden, you know, manipulated so much. I really wanted to showcase exactly what the camera can do and what it looks like out of the box. So I just went with something that was just going to give it a little bit of punch, you know. So this is something that, this is a type of LUT. Now a LUT is LUT, stands for lookup table. And what that essentially is a color grade done in a 3D space that you can apply to your footage. And usually they're meant to emulate film stocks, so like Kodaks or Fujifilm. And that's pretty much what I applied here. Now you can get, I'm gonna leave it in the description below. I have again the Vision Color set Impulse Ultimate, and I'm just gonna leave a link in the description below where you can just, you know, go and check that out. I highly recommend it. I love their stuff. They have a lot of great products, and I advise that you check them out. Now you can get this sort of look by creating it yourself. You know, if you apply the Lumetri color effect, which you can find in the video effects in the effects panel in Premiere Pro, then you can do it yourself and you can sort of customize it. They have the film fade, you can adjust the highlights, the shadows, the whites, the blacks, the contrasts, the exposure, all of that you can adjust in there to get the look that you want, the vibrance. You know, I added a little bit even on top of the LUT, just a little bit in the vibrance and a little bit in the faded film look. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review tutorial. Feel free to subscribe, please subscribe. Also, be sure to hit that bell so this way you can be notified of all future videos, which there will be plenty more coming because we ain't slowing down. I am Timothy Santana, and I will see you next time.